Today's webinar, how to get the most out of your holiday media budget. The holidays are rapidly approaching and many digital marketers are feeling the pressure of making 2018 a strong finish to the year. Timing is everything, and it is more critical than ever to jumpstart your marketing to holiday shoppers. Today I'll be moderating this session and we'll discuss with Bill Brown how to get the most out of your holiday media budget. But before we get started, I'm going to cover a few housekeeping items. If you're tweeting with us, tweet using the handle @Cybba Inc. and the hashtag holiday shopping. Also, we will make sure to make time for questions at the end of the webinar, so please submit your questions in the GoToWebinar chat panel that should be available on your screen now. And last but not least, we're recording this webinar and we'll make it available to you for later playback and sharing. So let's get started and meet our main speaker for today, Bill Brown, who is our strategic account executive here at Cybba with over 11 years of experience in the digital advertising landscape. He has worked with national brands the likes of Panasonic, 3M, McDonald's, Walmart, and ad agencies such as Initiative, OMD, and PhD. For our agenda today, we'll cover Jumpstart to the holidays in October, location, boost mobile presence, deliver ROAS and ROI in a smaller window, leveraging data with a blended approach, and Cyber Week 2 and the benefits of it. Now let's toss it back over to Bill and learn more about how to maximize that holiday media budget.
Thanks, Connor, for the introduction, and hope everyone is having a fantastic week and start to their Q4. The holidays will be here before we know it. And for this webinar, I'm going to provide some best practices and programmatic tactics to get the most out of your Q4 holiday budget. First, get going in October. 45% of consumers start shopping before November. The biggest spenders are baby boomers and Gen Xers. 50% of baby boomers and Gen Xers do most holiday shopping between September to November. So tailoring your message and timing to the appropriate audiences is vital to get a jump start on your competition. Launching in October is key to getting the most out of your holiday budget. Holiday programmatic campaigns that start in October versus November saw a 7% increase in ad impressions, 12% drop in CPC, and 20% decrease in CPM. Again, have a strategy ready with each audience segment targeting these baby boomers and Gen Xers. What I mean by that is try tactics like day parting, contextual targeting, whitelisting sites, and more. Get a jump start on your competition when there's less market saturation in the digital space. You're going to hear that phrase a lot during the webinar, market saturation. It's all about location to sharpen your mobile strategy. It's a no-brainer. Mobile continues to drastically grow year over year for holiday shopping. This is why it's critical to have a programmatic mobile strategy heading into Q4. Consumers are looking to research, review, and be ready to purchase. Those are my 3 R's for mobile programmatic. A forecasted report through Adobe predicts 46% of holiday purchases in November to December will be through mobile. That's almost half of the online holiday purchasing. A good idea is to filter by ad size to reach users on a smartphone device. 300 by 250, 320 by 50, 300 by 50 are the most popular ad sizes and better performing. All 3 are quick and efficient in implementing and have quality inventory within site categories. 72% of holiday consumers will use a mobile device to narrow down their options. So filtering among those 3 mobile sizes secures appropriate inventory and assures audience accuracy. Also, maybe test out a CPI campaign and strategy since it's performance-based and consumers continue to make purchases through a brand's app. It's instrumental to have a promotion that is good for in-store or online. 82% of consumers use their smartphones while in-store to help them along the purchasing funnel. This is falling back to the research review, and ready, the 3 R's, which all tie into mobile. So my wife is a huge Target customer and very loyal to the Target brand. She has both the Target app and Cartwheel app, promotions for products of the retail chain, and also you can get deals from manufacturers that Target carries in store and online. She is consistently opening both apps while at home and in the store. Our son is 4, so along with groceries, she loves looking for deals on clothing, toys, books, and more. She has seen ads and promotions outside of these apps as well, so having a 50-50 split between in-app and mobile web inventory is recommended. My wife is a bargain shopper and is always looking for coupons, BOGOs, or free expedited shipping when ordering online. And I'm sure she is the target audience that a lot of you marketers are trying to reach. The power of mobile through social. Social should be the second half of your mobile strategy. Instagram will continue to rise at a rapid clip. 51% in e-commerce traffic was from Instagram during last year's holiday season, and a 300% lift in traffic growth compared to other social platforms. I recommend leading with Instagram, about 60 to 70% of your social budget allocated versus Facebook due to market and user saturation. But do not exclude Facebook completely for your paid social push. For example, Cybba ran a campaign for Tippy Toad that was extremely successful over a shorter period of time, almost 5% in CTR and 1,000 likes, which in turn drove a 4-to-1 ratio in return on ad spend. So lead with Instagram and have a 60 to 70% budget allocation. Then the remaining can be towards Facebook. Incentivize and leverage location-based targeting. 85% of consumers are more likely to buy from stores that provide a personalized deal or message. Again, remember what I mentioned with my wife's shopping behavior with our local Target store. Lat-long coordinates, IP addresses of retail locations, and cookie retargeting with beacons can all be utilized. Product-specific targeting for in-store messaging and having the parcel of the store mapped out to reach consumers in real time is another targeting tactic and a great way to help boost that lift in purchases, average order value, and upsell opportunities. Make sure this strategy is cross-device, meaning once a user is either cookied or their device ID is captured, they can be retargeted on other screens or on that same user's smartphone at another location as they are on the go. The key is to having a cross-device strategy and partnering with a vendor who has fluid functionality. I worked on a campaign for a big retailer that actually wanted to conquest their competition's locations, meaning not targeting consumers in real time within their own stores, but mapping out and only targeting the competitors' locations with deals and awareness to reduce the competition's store traffic and look to convert them over to their store locations. I also had a tourism client in the Philadelphia metro area that wanted to reach specific hotspots and higher traffic areas in market to target travelers and tourists to either buy tickets to particular exhibits or attractions online through mobile web, or drive walk-ins and foot traffic to the ticketing office. So having a managed service vendor with these capabilities is ideal. This all goes back to having a location-based ad strategy through mobile to either conquest the competition, target in real time while the consumer is in your store, or the consumer is in close proximity to your store. Be smart in pacing your spend to drive return on investment or return on ad spend in a smaller window and time frame. Monitor pacing multiple times within the first few days after launch, meaning a few times a day early on. Think of this like breakfast, lunch, and dinner to get an idea of early performance and what peak times during the day are working. Ensuring campaign delivery and performance during these high-cost weeks means proactively pacing your spend and continually optimizing your bids to overcome the imbalance between supply and demand. Zig when others zag. I was involved with a campaign that was front-loaded with a competing ad tech vendor during the ramp to the holiday season last year. The brand had to scramble to cut the campaign short with that current vendor and look quickly for a replacement who offered a similar managed service platform. I was then able to work with that brand to get things turned around pretty quickly for a new campaign, but the point is, the vendor on the initial launch thought of a high pacing strategy versus a slower ramp for trial and error. The lesson learned is to see what works early on, then start making the appropriate decisions with ramping. Leverage channels that can allocate and optimize budgets more efficiently. Both programmatic and paid social can accomplish this within mobile. The most thrilling aspect of programmatic display is that it gets better as time passes. If a site on the placement network buy doesn't generate traffic or conversions, it can be phased out of the campaign. Meanwhile, more budget is assigned to the top sites which deliver results, and other opportunities can be trialed, as well as, or such as lookalike modeling, private marketplace deals, and more. To be able to collect these insights on the performance data of your campaign at the early stages is so valuable. Make sure you are recording this performance for future campaigns. Manage spikes and ramping. Dial it up and down accordingly within Thanksgiving break and Cyber Week and key days leading up to the holidays. Even though this chart is from 2015, these top shopping days in digital are still accurate, and you should have a higher bid frequency and higher volume of impressions for these specific days. You should include the days that are listed as priorities, but handling the ramping and spikes is to your discretion or your vendor or agency's discretion. November 26th is the biggest day in terms of web traffic, and 40% of the holiday shopping is expected to happen during Cyber Week this year. Remember to own your spend since it's your budget and money. If you are handling the campaign buy with an agency or vendor, make known the days that you want to increase spend or the days to pause or slow. Harvest and cultivate a blacklist or whitelist of sites and categories. I recommend building out 5 to 10 publisher channels of site categories, not only for performance purposes, but to see how each is handling the ebbs and flows of the campaign. Optimize bids to increase return on ad spend. Have a plan for your bidding. Within programmatic and DSPs, lead with a DCPM, a dynamic CPM that can fluctuate bids but have better margins and are more efficient for your return. I'll mention some quick recommendations that I and the Cybba trading team have for optimization strategies. One is whitelist high-performing domains in a separate line item, allowing for increasing bidding and frequency caps. Blacklist low-performing sites. Vary the bid based on user recency, high bids for high recency and low bids for low recency. And vary the bid based on user engagement, how low in the funnel a user gets, how much time a user is spent on the site, how many pages a user visits, and more. On this slide, these are stats from a programmatic campaign and the results we saw from these implementations. Our CTR went up by 20% in December of last year compared to the average. People clicked more as they are looking for products to buy for Christmas. eCPM went up logically as advertisers are spending more. But with the big increase in CTR, we saw this still meant that the ECPC went down by almost 50% for our clients. Align timing and scale to drive return on investment. Make sure targeting segments and inventory channels have reasonable scale, so when optimizing it is efficient and doesn't affect margins, which in turn can hinder ROI and ROAS. The reporting you are seeing on the slide is an example of the fluctuation in scale tying into performance. This was taken as a snapshot of Cybba's performance dashboard, which is fully customizable and very granular. This can also show you how not to stretch impressions thin. Have programmatic inventory and publishers that offer enough uniques and traffic. If you are running into challenges with scale of a publisher or whitelist of sites, but performance happens to be strong, then throw a curveball in there. and quickly evaluate another targeting tactic and audience extension play to increase your reach and still not having any issues with duplication. An example of this is, say you are leveraging second-party data with a specific demographic criteria, women aged 30 to 45 with a household income of 150K plus, and children are present in the household and have behavioral intent data to be affluent shoppers. Well, with that, then build a lookalike model of a new audience pool to provide a boost to the limited scale, but not to hinder performance within that publisher or category sites. This is a good lead into the next slide. Leverage valuable consumer data. Chances are you have a CRM with your client data. Jump on that and leverage first-party data for unique messaging for client retention and growth marketing within your existing client base. Being able to target your client base programmatically or through social channels directly is critical for brand loyalty. One-to-one targeting to me equals extreme efficiency. Partner with a managed service vendor and have an NDA already in place. Also look to make sure there's a FTP set up to drop and delete files as you go. This can help with audience creation and tighter deadlines. Utilize second and third-party data. Within programmatic display and paid social, you have access to second and third-party data within your DMP or DSP. Second and third-party data mix is great for prospecting and new consumer acquisition that falls outside of your database. Leverage all three, but have them set up as separate targeting segments for performance reporting purposes. I worked with a brand that wanted to leverage their CRM database for customer retention, upsell opportunities, and lift in customer loyalty. We onboarded a list of 500,000 emails and addresses to produce a one-to-one match. What was unique with this situation was that we also built out additional audience segments off that CRM file. The client wanted us to build a segment of lookalikes to have different messaging and creative, which would include promotions for new customer acquisition and prospecting. Both the CRM segment and lookalike performed well, the CRM being more on the performance conversion KPI and the lookalike being more of an awareness play. But this shows you a great example of how to be creative and leverage different levels of consumer data. The holiday season hidden gem, Cyber Week 2. This is the days of December 26th to the 30th that fall between Christmas and New Year's. Don't stop campaigns even after the presents have been opened from under the tree. December 26th to 30th are important days to still be reaching consumers. People will have cash and gift cards at their disposal, so engaging with them right after the holiday is a great way to still recoup ROI and lift that AOV. Last year, between the 26th and the 30th, there was a 28% lift in average order value and a 31% increase in conversions on December 30th between 2016 to 2017. So expect a similar trend in lift this year. Have different creative ready ahead of that week for a quick swap to have different messaging or a different promotion for gift card carriers. I have told countless brand marketers in the past that there are no breaks during the holiday season. It sounds minimal, but to miss a few days or a week because you think consumers are done shopping is a mistake, and I convey to my clients to not miss out on Cyber Week 2. Look to end the year strong. Here are some key takeaways, and please utilize the following to get the most out of your Q4 holiday media budget. Activate ads now. Start in October versus November to get ahead of those online shoppers. Craft a holiday strategy that is mobile-centric. Get the most bang for your buck for optimum efficiency and return. Make progressive adjustments after launch. Cast a wide net with light speed optimizations for conversions. And don't stop targeting shoppers after the presents are unwrapped. I want to just say thank you for everyone's time today, and I hope everyone can leverage some strategies I discussed and really make your Q4 a success. Please see below my contact information with email and direct line. I'm happy to help make your Q4 goals happen with Cybba's full funnel platform.
Great, Phil. Thanks for taking the time out of your day today to give us some great insight on holiday media budgets. We do have a few questions here that have come in throughout the webinar. So the first one that we got is, why does inventory seem more accessible during Cyber Week 2?
Appreciate that, Connor. And yeah, that's a great question. So, consumers are back to work and browsing more pages on the internet versus the late holiday rush when they are spending time with friends and family. Well, the bidding is less saturated. Again, there's that word again. So have a strategy ready and take advantage of the final week of the year.
Okay, another question that just came in is, should days of poor delivery be avoided altogether, even if when pre-bid targeting is enabled?
No, you don't need to avoid these days. You just may need to adjust your bidding behavior to win quality impressions, to provide some kind of lift during these days that dip during the holidays.
Okay, great. We have one last question here, and this is it. How frequent should I be touching base with my agency or vendor to ask about transparency and performance during my Q4 campaigns?
I guess it really depends on the priorities and peak times of your campaign, which should be discussed on a kickoff call ahead of time before going live. A good agency or vendor with your best interest in mind should be the ones being proactive on this and understanding your key initiatives and correspondence with reporting. I always recommend partnering with an agency or vendor that has a client dashboard already built that can be provided to you to review on a daily basis or multiple times a week. This is another factor for getting the most out of your holiday budget.
Great, that's awesome. So that's all the time we have for today. We are getting a few extra questions about having the slides and this recording sent over. Don't worry, as I mentioned, we will email you the full recording of this presentation. I would also like to let you know that our next webinar, How to Drive Holiday Engagement Through the Roof, will be being held on November 7th at 1 p.m. And we'd love to have you at that as well. I would like to thank again Bill for taking time to talk to us today. And of course, I would also like to thank our audience for joining us. You can continue the conversation with us on Twitter or email us at marketing@cybba.com to get more information or to see a live demo of our solutions. Thank you and have a great rest of your day.